Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be looking at a message from Ayub, which contradicts what he said before. And Mark Williams Thomas has said he will be releasing everything on a podcast. Also, something is wrong with Jay's Snapchat picture. The first thing that we will be looking at is Jay's Snapchat picture, because I'm sure most of you would have seen Wax's video where he speaks about this picture being taken outside the Airbnb and how you can see a figure which could allegedly be Ayub. And that was very interesting. So if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. But if that picture was taken outside the Airbnb, then I think Mark Williams Thomas has given us the wrong information yet again. And after watching this clip, you will see why I say that.
The Seat Leon hire car with two males casually known to him. Jay and a number of his friends had spent time with them both over the previous 2 days. All three males, including Jay, then travelled north via the main motorway, the TF1, to go to the two males' holiday rental Casa Abu Latina in Masca, which was about an hour's drive away. En route, Jay posted a Snapchat saying that he'd taken a £12,000 Rolex from a person. We have been unable to validate this in terms of a reported theft. However, friends of Jay said he would not make this up, and the watch was subject of later conversation between the friends. Not long after.
So if we take a look at where Mark says the picture was sent from, you can see that it's actually very close to Papagayo's, which is where they all apparently came from. So after they left to go to Masca, I'd say it's about 5 to 10 minutes max into the journey that Mark is saying Jay sent this picture. But Wax clearly pointed out that the picture was taken outside the Airbnb, and this is a big difference. So Mark has given us wrong information yet again. But who did he get this information from? Was it another phone ping like all the others? Because I can't work out how whoever has said Jay sent this picture while in this location has managed to prove it. You don't get much from the picture until you really look into it, like Wax has done. So what led them to believe that it was at this exact moment that Jay allegedly sent this Snapchat picture? The only thing that it could be is the time it was sent, because if they have the time that Jay arrived at the Airbnb and when this picture was sent, then they can work out where he would be through the route he took. But then you have to ask yourself about the other video of when they had just arrived, because I heard Ayub and fabricating videos have something in common. The next thing that we are going to look at is a message from Ayub, which was at the very beginning. And this shows you that Ayub has lied, and if you have lied once, then there's nothing stopping you from doing it over and over again. And when someone lies in a case like this, obviously it's going to bring a lot of suspicion. So as you can see, Ayub says, "Last I knew he was getting the bus." But didn't Ayub specifically tell us that no bus is coming, and he knows that for a fact? So he didn't think Jay was getting the bus because there wasn't a bus to get. This message was at the start. So what I'm thinking is that Ayub was using the narrative and saying that he thought Jay was getting the bus until he told his story with so many mistakes that he had to mention at some point that he told Jay there were no buses coming, which makes people confused because in this message he is the one saying he thought Jay was getting a bus. So maybe Ayub has told some truths throughout this story and has told lies as well, but got so mixed up that it hasn't worked out very well for him. I think this shows why Brandon hasn't spoken out at all, because after watching Ayub and seeing how easy it is to make mistakes, he probably didn't want to even risk speaking out. If you remember, Ayub said he was going to get Brandon in the Telegram group so we can speak to him, but that never happened, which makes me think that Brandon saw Ayub making all these mistakes and just went silent. Also, we have Jay's inquest date that was finally revealed, and by the time this video goes out, it will probably be the day after the inquest. So we will see what the results are when they get released publicly. And if I'm being honest, I really don't know what to expect. The last thing that we are going to look at is what Mark Williams Thomas has to say about the Jay Slater case, because he has come out with a new update telling us about the information he has and how he spoke to the family and is going to release it.
And what else? Well, many of you know I went out to cover the case of Jay Slater, speaking to family, friends, witnesses, people who had contact with him either on the days leading up to his disappearance or on the day of his disappearance. I was very clear, having done an investigation, that I believe, and this was prior to Jay's body being found, that there was no third-party involvement and it was most likely to be a tragic accident that resulted in his disappearance and subsequent, obviously, death. I was right. Sad reality is he had a tragic accident and died. There was no third party involvement. Anyway, my information, as I did the investigation throughout, I will turn into a podcast. The family are fully aware of that. And there is information that I will release for the first time that people aren't aware of, which will provide some real insight into terms of how that investigation started and ended. Obviously, a very tragic outcome for Jay's family, and my thoughts remain with Debbie and the rest of the family. So, those are just some of the cases I'm working on.
So Mark says that he's going to do a podcast and reveal inside information that hasn't been released before. Again, we don't have a date or anything, but it's coming up to a year, so I'm sure it won't be long before we find out what really happened with Mark Williams Thomas. But what he does say is that he thought it was a tragic accident and there was no third-party involvement at the start, and he was right. But is that what he really said to us? Because all I remember is Mark saying that Jay left scared and there was reasons to believe that he wasn't told the truth by Jay's friends and Ayub, and I don't remember him specifically clarifying that this was an accident after 3 days in Tenerife. Otherwise, why would Luggy be calling out Mark, saying that he is lying and was allegedly planting evidence in the mountains? It will be interesting to see if Mark's information is justified after saying for months that he has all the answers, but I don't understand why he's going to do it through a podcast. Will it just be him on his own explaining everything from start to finish? Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will update you as we find out more.